Hi, parents. I just want to take a minute today and encourage you with what you are doing at home. What you are doing is very challenging. It can be very rewarding, but it definitely has its ups and downs. Now, I don't know that many of you know this, but I actually used to homeschool my children back, gosh, 18 years ago. Yeah, my son is 24, my daughter is 21, and I homeschooled both of them. I homeschooled my son till he was in the ninth grade, my daughter till she was in the sixth grade. So I just want to tell you a little bit about my struggles, some of the things that I went through, and then maybe give you a little bit of encouragement with what you're doing at home. So I had been a school teacher for several years before I had my own children, and my classroom was always like well run, well disciplined. The children were loved and cared for, but they also knew the expectations, and everything just ran like a well-tuned machine. And I thought that's what was going to happen when I started homeschooling my own kids. Wow, was I in for a surprise. I remember one day, and this is 18 years ago, and I still remember this. My son, who was probably 7 at the time, 6 or 7, he's laying on the floor in the dining room area, crying because he doesn't want to do his spelling list. And I remember having this thought in my head, like, are you kidding me? You would never do this to me if I was your teacher at school. Like, who is this child? And I will tell you, my children are pretty well-behaved children, but it was difficult because the way that my children in the classroom as a teacher behaved and the way that my children who I gave birth to behaved were two very different things. And I was doing the same thing, and I was providing the same structure and the same style of teaching that I was doing in the classroom. But hello, what are my kids doing on the floor of the dining room crying because they don't want to do their spelling list? So anyway, I just wanted to encourage you that if you are having like the perfect experience with homeschooling your children, and your children are doing everything the way they're supposed to, and you may be a unique one. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of encouragement and know that this time, if you're in a little bit of a time where things are a little bit edgy and people are having a little cabin fever, and maybe your children aren't wanting to do their schoolwork, there is a rhythm to this, and it takes a little bit of time to get into it. And so you have now passed the honeymoon stage. Now you're into the grind. But if you stay consistent with your children, you will come out of this. Because my son was not crying on the dining room floor for all the years that I was teaching him. We kind of finally hit a rhythm, and so he knew what to expect. He knew when to expect it, how to expect it, and it did get better from there. So I don't know if this speaks to any of you, but if it does, I just want to encourage you that this is just a little point in time, that in the next several days, if you're very consistent with kids, they will learn that, okay, crying on the floor of the dining room does not work. It stalls me from being able to go out and play because now it's taking me longer to do my schoolwork. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a little bit of encouragement that this too shall pass. A couple things to keep in mind, and this is something to even have your children help you with, is have them sit down with you and have them with you come up with a schedule of when they are going to do their schoolwork. Allow them to have some ownership in that. By having that ownership, they will then take that on as their responsibility to do. So if they're like, listen, I want to do math first thing in the morning, but I don't want to do history until the afternoon after I watch my favorite show and have had lunch. Work with your kids and see what works for them. Have them have ownership in that. Come up with a schedule. Have them write it out, or have you write it out on a piece of paper and post it on the wall somewhere so that they can see it, so that they know, if I can get through these next 2 subjects, then I know it's my recess time and I can go play. But I know that if I take too long going through these things, it's going to eat into my recess time and I'm not going to have as much time to play. Spread your subjects out over the day. Some children are really well geared to like kicking it out and getting it done. Some need to do a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the late morning, and a little bit after lunch, and a little bit maybe later in the afternoon. So know your child and learn what works best for them. And above all, don't sweat the small things. It'll be okay. We will get through this. I am praying for each and every one of you. I know that this can be very difficult, but I will tell you, homeschooling for me was one of the most difficult things I ever did. But looking back on it, it was the most beautiful, rewarding time looking back at it. In the moment, it didn't always feel that way. But the bonding that happened, the family time that happened that would not have happened otherwise was so beautiful and sweet. And so I just want to encourage you with that, to savor these moments you have with your children. Although it may be difficult, it can be precious times that you will think about for years to come. Just think about your 20-year-old daughter or your 20-year-old son looking back and saying, hey mom, remember that month that you were homeschooling me? And do you want them to look back on this time with fondness, and you guys be able to say, yeah, we really tried to work that out and we muddled through it, but sure, we had a great time together as a family doing that. If that's what you want, keep that mindset as you're going through your daily grind. So I love each and every one of you, and I am praying for you, and we will see you soon. Take care.